What it do? Now I want to try something different. All right, all right. Welcome to We Are Something Else, episode 108. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. And we're back for another week. I'm your host, Kaleo. There's CB. There's E. What's good, fellas?
Yo, man.
I'm going to try something different. I think we've been doing the all rights for a minute now. I gotta find something. We're on break. I gotta find something.
We're gone like 107 episodes in a row.
Yeah, just gotta. Maybe I need to keep it right. It's worked thus far, right? So we're back. What's good, fellas? How's your week been? What's going on with everybody? I know there's a lot going on tonight. We'll get to it, but CB was good.
Hey, man. Week's kind of flying by. Another Thursday. Not that it feels like we were just here, but because work has been real busy. Had a fun launch this week, which has just been nuts. So, things are good. It's just, you better believe I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready for 6 o'clock to hit tomorrow when I'm logged off and, I can just get to my weekend.
Absolutely. He was good with you, bro.
I almost feel the same. Like, work's been retardedly crazy. It's funny. It doesn't seem like we run in these Thursdays faster, but I'm definitely looking forward to Fridays more than Thursdays now. So, it's going back to feeling like it's a normal work thing going on, like, even though we're at the crib or whatever, but
for now.
I know
till the man shut everybody back down again.
Yeah. That's how those super spreaders is working right now,
Right.
But other than that, man, hey, it's Thursday, feeling good, and excited for another show, and we're gonna get it in.
Yeah. Look, I agree with everything you both have said. CB knows what it's been like the last 2 weeks at work for me. This week more so than anything else, been ramped up. But you know what? At 6:30 today, whatever time I sent that final email saying that it was done, man, I felt amazing, like a big sigh of relief. But and here we are, another Thursday. But yeah, I'm glad to here we are, chop it up with you fellas. So let's see, what do you want to start with first? Let's wrap. Breaking news. I didn't even get to put the breaking news thing up, but look. So it's funny. I just sent the fellas a chat saying there was a possibility the Wizards were going to send Russ to the Lakers for Kuzma, Caldwell Pope, Trez, and maybe a draft pick. I'm not sure if the draft picks got put in, but then literally as I sent that, the tweet came or the IG post came from Woj. This is who said it. So I'm quoting. This is Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, saying that the deal is confirmed that Russ is headed to the Lakers. Now, my initial thought was this is not going to work. We've seen Russ in a big three situation before out in OKC, but then I thought about it. They weren't really a big three then, right? Harden was coming off of the bench, but he was getting ready to he was finding himself. KD was KD, and we just know it just didn't work, right? Because the Russ's playing style. Then we saw Russ in Houston, and actually saw Russ with PG-13 first. And that seemed to maybe have some legs, but then it ended up Russ going to Houston, and I knew that wasn't going to work off the break just for the simple fact of their styles, right? Those Harden, and it was a small ball, and they out in the West, you need a big man. It wasn't going to work, right? that lasted for what, a year, 2 seasons maybe, and then Harden was out, Russ was out. Russ actually played well with the Wizards. Him and Beal played well, but there was nothing else around them. And with the talks of Beal perhaps asking for a trade out, it was only the writing on the walls for Russ to win out. So, and plus the Wizards want to clear money to maybe perhaps re-sign Beal to keep him there. So, that's just part one of this segment. Fellas, how you feel about it?
I'll let CB go. He's got the North Carolina jersey on.
It's funny because I was totally going to defer to you being the LA representative, but
Right.
I'll take the first leg. I think that it's a good deal for all parties involved. Because for Russ, he had been kind of keen to wanting to go back to LA, so he's going to get that opportunity. Yo, what's up, Dan? He's going to get that opportunity, and he is boys with LeBron. We got the video of them smoking cigars in the backyard. Like they'll be able to get it done with Russ. Like Russ wants to win just as bad as anybody in the history of the NBA. And we know where LeBron is at in the stage of his career. Like every year matters that much more in terms of chasing championships and everything. So, and for the Wizards, the main thing is to keep Bradley Beal. That is the only ticket in town. And so without like this deal, this apparently is able to open up some financial means for them to help retain him. And there was a tweet right before we came on where Brad had said that he has no intention of leaving the Wizards. So that's like all the news that Wizards fans should want to hear.
Right. Real quick for you jump in here, because I'm gonna forget my point what CB just said. I don't think that the Wizards got a bad deal out of this, because you lose one piece, but he wasn't the piece that you needed. You needed big man, you need rebound. Like Trez can give you that, right? You need somebody to help that can kind of develop. I mean, Kuzma can probably outside the shadow of LeBron of being, he can probably step his game up being from under LeBron, right? Because the pressure will be off. Caldwell Pope, he's going to give you some scoring. So we'll see. I mean, go ahead, E.
I agree with the
Viper. What's up?
Caldwell Pope is going to give you that.
Let's say hi to Quatapa. We didn't.
CP3 is going to. KCP is going to give you. He's going to give you quality points, but he's definitely going to play defense, right? So you're getting that with him. Kuzma is probably, out of all of the Lakers that were there, from Lonzo to Ingram, probably was the worst off at the end of the day, because
they picked the wrong one.
Brandon Ingram just had more of an upside because he doesn't play defense either, right? I feel like that whole draft class just said we're not playing defense, right? But if you look at the dynamic of like how he's grown as a scorer, right? He worked on his game, whereas Kuz just seems like he's always, my talent has gotten me this far, right? To go 1-10 in a playoff game where you've been there before, you just won the championship last year, so you've been in situations where you have to get to your advantages, like on the court. He didn't even do that, and I feel like I've always said this. We can go back and check the footage. We have never gotten a spot up shooter in the Lakers. Like, we know Kyle Korver's, nobody that's just gonna sit there. James Jones from the Heat. Nobody that can sit there and literally be standing on the wing and know that as soon as they get the ball, it's going in. And for that reason, I feel like Kuz had to go anyway. Now, Kuz, the real deal that I really wanted, before we and not take too much, was I wanted them to trade Kuz for Buddy in Sacramento.
Well, did you see Woj said that was the original deal that was in play? Yeah, that was getting ready to happen, and then they went to the Wizards and got Russ.
So the Brody coming home is definitely a good look, right? You're talking about a walking triple double, a point guard that's not going to put up, that doesn't necessarily have to put up 25 shots a game, right? But if you know that you're getting 10 rebounds with 10 assists from Russ, that's about 20 to almost 30 something points back on the board for the Lakers when you're talking about AD cleaning up the boards, whether or not, I still feel like Gasol's got to retire. He's got to go. He can go play over Spain with his brother and they can retire over there. But you got to, like, that doesn't fit the mold of.
Are you bringing back Drummond?
Drummond's probably going to stay only because he came out there to play with LeBron, and I think changing the format of who was on the floor. Like, I really didn't want them to give up Trez, to be honest with you. Trez was a dog, but clearly there was some issues there. Me and my bro Mike was talking. He said he had to bump heads with Bron because he didn't play none in the playoffs, right? Which then goes back to he bumped heads with PG, in the Clippers, and that was all said and done. So it's got to be something there. But all in all, I think it's still good. I think Chris Paul was like, I'm gonna run it back with the Suns one more time.
I was getting ready to bring that up. Do you think for them to pull the trigger on Russ, Bron had to have actually got word from CP that he was not coming?
Facts. I definitely think that was the case. He was like, look, if you win it or not, I'll let you get some time. You decide if this is what you want to do. If you want to stay, you want to go, but let me know so I can pull the trigger on what else, I'm trying to. And I think there's one more piece to this that's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and be the prophet now. And I'm going to tell you that DeMar DeRozan is going to be a Laker before it's all said and done.
I watched the interview with him and Shannon, and the kind of writing seems like it's on the wall. But
it makes sense. It makes sense. He got to get out of, like, Pop is a good coach, but again, they haven't attracted the younger talent to meet up to what the NBA is today, right? So then you fall back and you say you don't have anybody there that would want to stay, because then you're talking about bringing in a whole new entourage of
what's good, bro?
Coaches. They were talking about Becky Hammond being the coach. You got players that you're still trying to figure out, like, where they're going to play at. Send DeMar home. He's from the house. Now you got two players from the crib in that LA environment that now brings back that whole, Lakers should be where they're at. We'll be all right.
Right. I think what you get with Russ is what you've been lacking from the other 3 or 4 players. If you're Bron, is scoring. You need someone that can go out there and score, because the inconsistency with Kuzma has been there. The inconsistency with Caldwell, like, he couldn't find his 3 last season. Like, it was iffy. Like you said, Russ is a walking triple double. He's going, and even if Russ plays his game, it takes LeBron off the ball, which is kind of where he probably wants to be at this stage of his career. And if AD this offseason can train right, get his body right, and stay healthy.
It's the glass, man.
That's always the enigma, right? You never know what he's going to do. And
he plays. Go ahead. No, I'm just saying. If he plays all 82 games, it's because he put in the work this offseason to be there. And like you said, Russ being a walking triple double and taking LeBron off having to handle the ball the whole time. So my thoughts are, like you said, it's when LeBron goes to the bench, right? Or you got AD to the bench, that Russ is still he's gonna command where people gotta know where he's at. The thing about it I like more so about this than anything else is Russ is that old dog point guard that you're not gonna punk him or anybody on the squad, and that's gonna bring out some of that dog and some of them other cats that they didn't know they had in them. You know what I'm saying?
He played hard every game for the Wizards.
No one's ever said he was like a bad teammate. You know what I mean? So everyone who's ever like played with him really they love playing with Westbrook.
So imagine what he's going to do with a team that has potential, right? Or what they can do. And one last thing I'll say, and this is a stretch, but don't count it out, because other things have happened for far less, is that Kawhi is still out there. Look, just saying, He's still out there. We know he's not a 1. He's not a 1. He can be a 2, maybe your 3rd star of the team. He's out there. Less money, championships, we'll see. That's a far stretch, but it's still out there. And I mean, I doubt that Bron would trade AD.
The question I have for,
but go ahead. Oh, you're right.
I guess the question I pose to both of you guys though is does it make sense for Kawhi to stay out west or to go east? Because at this point, what is the powerhouse that you got to deal with on either coast?
Right. It makes sense for him to stay out west, where it's a little stacked for him to join any squads that you want. If he goes to the east, he's not gonna play. I mean, he has to be the leader of a team going to the east. Well, go to Miami, he can still be Jimmy's team, but he's gonna have to compete against Brooklyn. You're on mute, CB. He's gonna have to compete against Brooklyn, and then the Bucks.
What about a reunion in Toronto?
I mean, well, Kyle is out too, right? Are they getting ready to break that up?
I mean, everything's breaking apart right now. You see the Nats news?
Scherzer's going?
Scherzer and Trey Turner.
They got rid of both?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He could be happy about that one, too.
Oh, my God.
Where'd they go? Definitely put in some work today.
Dodgers, yo.
Scherzer went to the Dodgers? Oh, my God.
There's been a lot of stuff that's, like, come across the wire in, like, the last hour.
I didn't think they would get rid of Scherzer, though. I thought they would, but
they've lost. I think the stat was they've lost like 16 of their last 21, and they won today. Scherzer pitched actually, but yeah, it's one of those like trying to get these dudes to some contenders and get some like resources, in return. They apparently got the Dodgers' top 2 prospects out of the deal or whatever. So, it was a good run for them while it lasted. They got a championship out of it, so.
Wow, this is a good point. B brings up why was Bill ready to opt out until Russ got traded? Pretty much. I mean, was that confirmed? I know a lot of people said Bill was ready to opt out, but I mean, you never know.
We didn't see it come from him in an interview, so it's like I don't know. And from all accounts, him and Russ really enjoyed playing together. So I don't think that he probably got, a call from the owner and they let him know that, yo, dude, we're going to make these moves. This is so we can build around you. Like, and isn't that what most guys want to be told, that they're going to build a team around you and, try to make you happy so he can stay in the
Rodgers.
Right. You know what I mean? So, and as far as I'm concerned, yeah, like I said, he's the only ticket in town. Wall is gone. If this dude was to leave, who is ever going to another Wizards game ever again? Who's there to watch? Who are you going to see? We don't. Come on, man. Like there is nobody to put people in the seats. Like that's Bradley Beal. That's Bagley's job. Beal. Give him give him some more money. Lock him up forever. Make him happy.
Yep. Just go ahead and try to get some pieces.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I mean, they got. I don't know if this is a situation where they literally keep everybody that involved in the trade, or whether guys are getting cut, or like how this is going to work. But they got a lot for Russ. These dudes that they're getting better than the guys that they had on the squad, because still the Lakers were a team that was in the playoffs competing. The Wizards were a team that, like, by a miracle made the playoffs in, kind of a crazy NBA year anyway. So, I was saying, I think it's it's good overall, but I don't know if Brad ever really was saying it or what, but I'm sure ownership was like, they squashed it as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the lap of luxury here. Look at this luxurious suite that's being occupied by Kanye West. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that kind of broke earlier this week. TMZ, all his sources are saying Kanye West is living in Mercedes-Benz Stadium because he loved the atmosphere so much, and when he did his listening party, that he felt inspired that he had to finish the album in the stadium. Now, this can only happen for people with money, obviously, right? Because there's no living quarters inside of a stadium. You see that they said that night right after his show, he ordered beds, and they got a around-the-clock chef that's preparing meals for him. But this dude is. Last week I told you I wasn't gonna wait up for Donda. Was it Yonda? Donda. Who cares at this point? I wasn't waiting up for Donda because it wasn't
Donda,
happening.
Yonda, Honda. We're never getting this album.
Jane Fonda. It's not happening. It wasn't happening. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he says he's inspired. Something about Mercedes-Benz Stadium is inspiring the finish of this album, and we're getting it not this week, but next week. I'll stop right there for now, and then I'll preface next week right out. I'll come back next week once you guys finish. What do you think about this?
I mean, if anyone was going to do this and it not be a surprise, it's Kanye. Like, if this was another artist, I might be more surprised. Like, oh, word, like that's interesting. But not if it's Kanye. Like, yeah, this dude he's like one of the more eclectic artists. Like, he just talk about a dude that literally just goes to the beat of his own drum. My favorite though is them using this picture and saying, like, men really live like this and think it's okay. That meme like really kills me because I'm like, yo, he's got everything he needs in here.
He does. A TV, a bed, someone to hang his clothes, someone to put his shoes. That looks comfortable.
I mean,
prison cell, but it looks comfortable.
It's like a very cozy prison cell.
Yeah, and it's got a studio. Like they even I didn't find a picture, but there's also a studio I saw of what they're finishing the album in. Like this is literally just a laptop, a keyboard, and maybe some speakers. Like this is so makeshift that I mean, look, you get inspired by little by not a lot sometimes. And this right here seems to be what's going to inspire Donda to be finished. Go ahead, E. He looks like you got a lot to say.
Nothing, because it's all trash. I don't care for it. I'm not waiting for it. I don't care what his process is. If anything, instead of getting the keys to Atlanta, he should have got some type of reprimand for creating a super spreader in Atlanta for people to listen to an album that didn't come out. I don't have
wearing a trash bag and a
like. I feel like I like what we talked about before, which was, is that in the midst of like you can be a musical genius and all that good stuff, and that's cool. But like I said, I think the anticipation of you say something's gonna drop, it doesn't drop. It kind of devalues the process of like how I feel about the album itself now. You know what I mean? Like it could still be a good body of work, but it's just
the weight.
I'm just
like the build up. Sometimes the build up is more than the product sometimes. But yeah, but you hear these stories about how like the creative processes for albums, right? Like him and Jay literally going to Paris and renting like all the penthouses in the hotel and just bringing in producers so they can do Watch the Throne, right? When you hear about Cole renting out a studio in Atlanta for, what was that, a weekend or a week, and just having a rotation of producers in and out and artists in and out to record this album.
I think that was a full week.
Yeah, and so like you never know what like inspires these people, and I've heard stories about other people visiting like just like the crappiest of crappy studios just to feel closer, like to feel closer to like the gutter of the music. But whatever's inspired Donda to be released, whatever, we'll see. But also,
and I mean, you do hear like about like writers and like other types of artists, how they'll like go into seclusion, or they'll go to like some cabin on the lake or whatever, wherever they need to be in that creative space, that zone. And
Do
for
it
Kanye,
again.
for Kanye, he gets this right now out of Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah. To the answer to your question is do it again. Jay-Z did a show, MCI, back when it was MCI.
Back when it
And
was MCI.
yeah, and I think he went to an after party, and Rare Essence was performing at after party, and they did their overnight scenario, and he was inspired by the overnight scenario hook, and he went to Night Flight, where I've recorded it before, and he was there. He recorded Night Flight too, and he went and did Do It Again, which is on Volume 3. So, but also, so now we get Donda next Friday, right? And I'm in the gym today, and I get just like it's a day of breaking news, like between trades, and then I see Nas on his IG talking about Run It Back. So King's Disease 2 is coming out next Friday. And then Hit Boy puts out a tweet too talking about Run It Back. Why not? Why not? And I believe there was 4 of us at the time, but I believe one out of the 4 of us had put King's Disease as the album of the year last year. And I believe that's the Grammy that it won. Now, I'm not going to call it again this year, but I'm just assuming Nas and Hit Boy have something good going. And I think at midnight next week, I'm listening to Nas first before I listen to Donda, because Donda's not going to be out at midnight. Let's be honest. Anybody else excited about Nas?
It wouldn't be a surprise to me if now Kanye moves the date again. Like what it is what it is. But got to be excited for Nas because you're right. I don't remember who it was on the squad that had picked it as album of the year or anything. That's not important. But the album did speak for itself. Like it was another great project, and Nas is one of the living goats. So how can you not be excited when he has been coming out with bodies of work that are quality? Yeah. There's plenty of guys that have been in the game for a long time that put out stuff now, and it's like, nah, it's not like the old magic, but Nas still has it. And he's, all he's ever needed is one mic.
Right. I mean, shout out to Chucky Thompson for producing that. I mean, my 5, like I've pretty much locked in my 5. Like, I'm gonna throw Nas in on this 5th, but I'm saying if Donda is actually good, I mean, like this is where it's gonna get tough because we still got a few more months left in the year, and we know there's gonna be a Kendrick album at some point. I'm just assuming that's gonna happen. Like Nas, but I'm shocked Nas is dropping. So that Tyler the Creator came out of nowhere, and I mean that's. In the X album thus far, been pretty good. And there's some other stuff I've been listening to, but yeah, this is good. I like when there's competition.
So, did you listen to the Vince Staples? Because I feel like me and CB are the only ones that have addressed the Vince Staples project.
I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't listened to it yet. I know that's only it's like 24 minutes.
Does it matter? You haven't
exactly. You haven't found 24 minutes.
I've been stuck on the stuff I just talked about. I'm gonna get that.
Two of the things you talked about, you listened to far enough. You don't need to listen to X album no more, right? You definitely you've already played out, and King's Disease 2 isn't out, so you're not listening to that, right? Yes, you could be still listening to Tyler, but again, plenty of time for you to pop in as Vince Staples though. Like I need you to stop playing. That's really disrespectful that you haven't listened to it yet.
I'm gonna listen to him tomorrow during my workout. I'm gonna listen to that.
I mean,
but there's other things I've been listening to get inspired as well. We'll talk about that off air.
I get that.
Because one of us posted a picture in front of a microphone this week, and I was like, oh.
Which one of us was that?
Just getting warmed up, eh? I mean, we got something to finish too.
But speaking of being warmed up, though, I feel that Nas going back to back with albums is what's needed based upon. I feel like he's a streaky type of rapper, right? Certain rappers can go a certain time frame, a gap, and then they bring out something where like it meets the level of age based upon where they're at, of where they are, right? Nas is that one that I feel like he's got to be more consistent. If Nas dropped the project every year or every other year, I think the consistency in that as far as like where he's at, but that long time frame, like I think like he does the features to let you know that he still has it. But then when you realize like he takes too long then to bring out the substance of like what's like after he dropped the DJ Khaled one off of the keys, was it what was that one? I can't remember the name of it. But that was like his first one that he had dropped in a while. Like that whole verse made you feel like hit him with the album mode right now, because that's what that verse was. That whole entire song, Nas was in album mode, and then we didn't get nothing for like 2 years, and then he came out with King's Disease, which again, still to this day, was like that. But if he can keep that momentum off of that, I just don't want it to be like another 2 years, because then I feel like we miss out on that rhythm that they got going on, because if they can't keep the level of what the music is at that time. Like you said, we talked about the Busta Rhymes one, right? Like it was cool, but you can tell that he tried to mix a newer age sound with the old school type of his flow. Then he tried to switch it up and try to give you something new, but still wanted that old flavor. But he had been gone too long, and it was like you couldn't find that, you know, that rhythm where you can be like, all right, it was a well put together album. You know what I mean?
I think with Nas too, is before King's Disease, he was part of the Wyoming project with Ye.
Yep.
And got pigeonholed to 7 tracks that were edited by Ye. Kind of like the Tiana Taylor thing. Like you can honestly tell there was more left off the table than what, you know, Ye had this concept of 5 albums, 7 tracks a piece, if that. You know, this is all I got, and then I'm gonna chop it down. Like this was Ye's thing. Like, so you didn't get a true Nas album. You did get the pairing of Kanye doing an entire Nas album, quote unquote. But I think that there was so much more left. And Pusha even said it. Like when Daytona dropped, there was so much left. Pusha had that got taken off the album that, you know, it was nothing Pusha could do though, because it wasn't his, you know, wasn't his concept. He just whatever. But so I think that's why we got King's Disease, and I think that definitely sparked. Okay, you know what? And then the chemistry between Nas and Hit Boy was just, I mean, track after track after track, and then to the point where he's releasing Lucy's in between. So like, there's something there. We'll see. Where we at? CB, how about that recording session we've been talking about?
It was good. It was the first recording session since COVID. So
nice.
Like with Sick and Buster, that is. So
nice. All right, let's do this one right here, fellas. So Team USA, this current adaptation of what we have of Team USA, they didn't look good in prelims, and then they took a bad L against France, I believe. First game that USA has lost in like 25 games. Now, I didn't have much hopes, but I'm not going to root against USA winning the gold. But after seeing the first game, and they did what they were supposed to do against the second game, like, this team has no identity. Kevin Durant is the man. He's the leader of this team. It's his team. But none of I can't really remember who said it best. One of the guys from the France team says they're all great players individually, but together they're beatable.
Are we really surprised that they lost to France though? Like, France, literally starting 5 are starters in the NBA. So,
Yeah.
but that's one. Like, why are we surprised that happened though?
I think I'm surprised because it was a game that they should have won.
No, that game was supposed to be competitive. If you look at the lineup, they were not about to sweep that team. They were not about to kill that team. Just like when they play against Luka, they're not going to sweep the team. Like, these are more competitive games because you have. So look at what they said before, right? I think Patrick Ewing said it. Like, when the Dream Team happened, you just had the start of the babies that were coming out of that era of them watching them. You then get the era of, I think, what was it, when Iverson and Melo were part of the Olympics, right? Then you get the Kobe's, the LeBrons, and the D Wade's, where now you're starting to get the younger version of what was watching the Dream Team, and they're getting better every year. And if you look at it, they're drafting more foreign players than they do anything else now, right? So now you got the change has happened, and you're talking about spot checking that we're going to throw our best players who don't play together, because again, other than if you're a big three, that then you're coming into this situation where you're only literally having a couple of weeks to play together, and it's strictly off of one-on-one talent, and not necessarily like if the USA just said, this is our game plan every year we go to the Olympics, like regardless, this is what we're going to run, because they can't stop it, right? Regardless of who we put there. But France, help, Spain still. Yeah. You got where's Luka from? You know what I'm saying? Like these have bona fide players that Absolutely. Are starters. But it's not just what I'm saying is the difference was back then it was like one, maybe two. Now you got a starting five and still somebody on the bench that could be starting for an NBA team. There's no way that they should be blowing teams out. Then clearly we said who they just played the other night. Like clearly that was.
Only reason why I say they should have won that game is because France went on a streak of missing shots. They didn't score for a while, and then that was an opportunity to at least jump ahead. They got up by 8, but go ahead, CV.
So I 1,000% agree that the game in general now is just exponentially better than it was on a worldwide scale, right? Then when the Dream Team was playing, at that point, other countries were just excited to be on the court with those guys. You know what I mean? And to E's point, now you do have a lot more full squads of guys that have of countries that have guys in the NBA. The thing for me, and I would not have expected them to blow them out by any means, but I always expect a victory when I look at, because what do? We look at the individual players and we go, those 5 guys are better than those 5 guys. And Damian Lillard, after the game, had the funniest quote I've ever heard when he was like, and I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, these guys play a lot different than they do in the league. It was basically like, these guys are unleashed out here internationally. Like it's you think about how France runs their offense. You think about how Spain runs their offense and the way that they get certain dudes involved that don't get involved like that in the league. And it just kind of puts it in perspective. So also, I feel like the expectations for the United States need to be tempered a little bit because they've got JaVale McGee on the squad. They've got Jeremy Grant filling in on the squad. Like, it's not that these are, bad NBA players or that these are bad basketball players, but these are dudes that when LeBron, D Wade, Kobe, when those guys were filling out the squad, when it was literally the elite guys,
Yeah.
You didn't have, those guys wouldn't have been touching a squad like that.
Right. And then also, these guys play together every year. Like, you won't get Luka going. Like, the big, like, Luka probably doesn't go home and play every year. But to Quatapo's point, like, Yao Ming, his country kind of pressures him into going home every year to play basketball for China, which pretty much put him out the league early because it was that wear and tear on his body, and he couldn't keep his back and his knees together. But yeah, these guys play together all the time, even outside the stars. Like to your point, E, they've got guys on these teams that you've never even heard of. They haven't made the NBA, but they ball, and they're just plugging in like a Rudy Gobert. Then they're plugging in like a Patty Mills or a Luka, and they're just balling. So, like I said, I'm not. If there was a game that they blew, USA. It was the very first one, just because France went on a streak where they missed a bunch of shots, and then USA matched them by missing a bunch of shots. KD was in foul trouble, so there's some of your scoring right there. But they bounced back and beat a team that they were supposed to beat. And these games are so far spread out. Like I don't know. I'm assuming they got another game tomorrow, right? Like I can't find a schedule.
Yeah, it's really tough to actually nail down when events are supposed to be.
Right. And this is pretty bad as far as you had an extra year to get all this right.
That's what I'm saying, yo. You literally had an extra year to prep. Like, come on.
Right. And from what one of my main questions was, so how do you do that? Now because of the extra year, are we off a year now on the Olympics? But no, Olympics will be back in 3 years. So you're not going to get another 4. So we've gone from the longest wait to now the shortest wait. And which means a lot of these athletes who probably would have phased out or aged out within 4 years get to come back within that 3-year term and probably get another shot at some type of medal.
Right.
What's that one? And so speaking of Olympics, and again, this has been one for the books, right? And what we've heard the whole time, there's certain athletes that stand out. This is going to be their show. These are the representatives of the United States of America. And blasted on every poster board. And we saw it coming even from the last Olympics and just throughout the wait. We knew this was Simone Biles' Olympics. Everyone was going to, not just gymnastics team, Olympics. We knew this was going to be her prime. This is her breaking out, her moment, because she's done some incredible things within the past 4 years, moves that have gotten banned in competition because other people simply can't do it. And just you're talking about more accomplishments and awards and accolades that she's racked up to make her the best gymnast of all time, and perhaps winner, right? Depending on competition level, right? So this was her moment. And what we saw early was her struggle in practice to land, and to the point where in competition, easy stuff to her that comes second nature, she struggled. It looked like she couldn't do it. Like she's not mentally or physically there. And so she dropped out of the team competition. Originally, they stated it was medical condition, but then there was transparency and they were honest. It was a mental thing. She's not mentally there. So I come off that. We'll come here. First of all, I want to say, look, it takes a lot of guts to listen to your inner self on that kind of stage, knowing the pressure and what people are invested into you, to say, no, I don't have it. I know, everyone's here to see, this is the star, one of the stars everybody's here to see. I just don't have it. And she didn't compete. So it takes guts. She did it. So how do you guys feel about that?
Good for her. You know what I mean? I think ultimately what you have to look at is, the fact of the matter is, like, you talk about 4 years, right? The amount of time that from the last time that it happened, that this has been the talk for her all the way up until, which should have been last year, but which is this year, right? And you think about it, and it's just like, the fact of the matter, like, my biggest thing for her is when she said she wasn't having fun no more. And anybody who's played a sport knows that when it gets to that level, that you are more into your head than anything else. You're probably worried about techniques that you've been doing for eons that should just be normal. You're thinking about stuff and you're like, God, like, why? Like, really? Like, you're making simple mistakes that then create bigger mistakes, right? And it's because you're not having fun. When you're having fun, you're going out there, you're trying, you're doing whatever, and you're not even in the moment of what's happening because you're just having fun doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? For me, that was it. Once she said I wasn't having fun, I feel like you have to know that that's when you got to check out, because that's, the age old, if your mind is not in this, you're going to get hurt. You're going to do all these things that are going to happen, because if you're not where you're supposed to be at this moment, all these other things can happen. And I feel like she was good to do it. And I even applaud her teammates for keeping her in that good mindset of, even after the fact of, this is way more bigger than her, that it's about us and everybody else that has this moment. And just to be honest, like, bro, she's young enough to like make that decision. She can be like, I ain't got to do this no more. Look what I've already accomplished. I don't owe you guys anything.
Right. And she said one of her moves, she went up in the air and blacked out, didn't know where she was. It's time. I mean, she did the right thing. Go ahead, CB.
So, the oldest of my two younger sisters was a gymnast. She competed all the way up through college. She went to William and Mary, had a scholarship to compete. So, trained in a gym that has produced multiple Olympians and those kinds of things. And so for that sport, and we think about, like, we always joke about athletes being in their like younger 30s and they're ancient in the league and everything like that. In gymnastics, it is not common to have girls in their mid 20s competing in the Olympics and stuff like that. At that point, most girls are retired, they're coaching, they're doing something else. They're not competing in these, the world championships and the Olympics and stuff like that, for the most part, because the amount of stress that goes on these girls' bodies, and it has been going on these girls' bodies for their entire life, basically, because they start, when they're like 3-4 years old, to get to this level. And we think about athletes like Tiger, who his swing was so violent, like it actually ended up breaking his body down on him. Simone Biles has done and accomplished moves, like we are saying, that literally no one else can do. She has a move named after her because she's the only one. She's the first one who's ever done it. Like when this, I don't remember how many shows ago it was, but we had a GOAT conversation, and we could not leave out talking about her and Serena from the ladies' side. Like, you can't have a GOAT conversation without these two being involved when you look at what they've accomplished. And whether Simone Biles even competed in these Olympics, she goes down as the GOAT. She's the most accomplished. She's the greatest of all time. And so I applaud her for prioritizing her mental health and that aspect of it over, trying to gut it out or whatever, because a lot of the chatter that you see on all the socials, dudes that, probably got cut from their high school teams, trying to tell one of the greatest athletes in the world what to do or how to act. Like, get out of here, bro. I support her decision 100%, and shout out to the rest of the ladies. Sunny Lee going out there, like, you got the girls holding it down. So
absolutely.
They finished second in team, which was amazing. People need to know that China is for real when it comes to gymnastics. Like, they're always competing at the top. So for a lot of people that aren't tuned into the sport, because this is one of the sports that they only pay attention to every 4 years. It's a little bit different in my household because I grew up with a gymnast. So it's just the very little insight that I have. And, I applaud Simone. She's the greatest.
And like, to your point, like gymnastics really on a national spotlight, to break down your NBCs or your Foxes and all that, is every 4 years, right? But I think there's always excitement leading up to the Olympics, because you have to find out who these girls are. But I've been, and with social media, it makes it a lot easier to figure out, to see what's happening. So I've definitely taken a look at it within the past couple years just to see, it's an interesting thing because you see these athletes do things that it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like you don't know how that happens. And I read an interesting article. Another thing about Simone is that, being back at the Olympics and, that creep, the guy, I can't think of his name, that
Larry Nassar.
Larry Nassar. This got like 40, 50 life sentences.
And then I think he offed himself.
Did he?
Did he?
But that
one of these guys did, but
if he hasn't yet.
Right.
But that can play in on your mental too. Like you're back here in like the kind of the element where you spent most of your time at with this guy. Like he prepped you for these things. Like so that could be playing in her mental too. But who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, she did the right thing. We're not talking about her, still deciding to do it and making a horrible mistake in like not putting her mental health first. No. And the thing is, there's still individual competitions within the Olympics she's still qualified for if she wants to compete. And maybe she will, maybe she won't. But if not, I think there was a great opportunity. I mean, they had already started spotlighting Suni, and she went out and killed it. So, like, these other girls are there too. And it's a good opportunity to kind of come out of the shadow and do your thing, My next question was, will this affect her legacy at all?
Nope, it shouldn't. And I think it's more of a backing of people understanding that. Because again, like I said, the rave of professional athletes taking their own situation into their hands more than just because the owner said so or the coach said so. Like they're not about killing themselves just for the sport, knowing that it's somebody that's going to come behind them and do the same thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're preserving themselves for the long run. And, I like the fact that whether it was Michael Phelps making comments about it, and all that he dealt with, you know what I mean? And you said, you talk about the notion of just like somebody who's like everybody's saying like, we're watching you to do this for an entire country. One person.
Right. You're wearing the red, white, and the blue.
Yeah, somebody who's like 4'11", and let's not get into the more deeper side of the house of the fact
still around.
Let's not get into the deeper side of the house that you're a 4'11", probably 4'8" black girl who definitely can be caught up in when you get back home a situation that doesn't care that you went and competed for their country for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? So. I don't think so. I think this is that wave of the players saying, look, man, you're not going to control our destiny no more. And just like Aaron Rodgers was like, bro, like, I'm not I'm not going past this because I know you're not trying to your path and my path aren't the same. So let's just be honest and say this is the last year. I'm going to hold all of the cards because this is how I want it to happen. And it's like, why are these people now confused that players are being able to say this is how I want it to happen when it's the players?
Right. Agreed.
Always pro player over the team because the logos, what is that going to do for me? Like the logo doesn't back me up. You know what I mean? People back you up and the players are actual people. So I'm always pro player over the team. Because, it is a business and they try to sell sports as if it's not, because when we grew up playing it, it wasn't. But at this level, at the top level, whether we're talking about, professional athletes or Olympic athletes, it's a different ball game. And the sport culture has changed. Like we're in a place now where players have a say, like, and in my opinion, it's for the better. Cause like I said, fuck these team owners or whatever. Like,
absolutely,
Dan Snyder doesn't need any of my money, bro. He's good. Like, so it's one of those things where there's a lot of old timey, what are we calling the male versions of Karens? You know what I mean? That are just
Ken?
like,
Is it Ken?
I liked it the old days when the guys just shut up and dribbled. And it's like, bro, why don't you just shut up and go back to doing whatever your job is? Like,
Just
what
pay me. Just
yeah,
cut the check.
like, come on, dog. Like, get out of here. These are people too. And I'm all for the players, being in positions of power. Because let's be honest, I don't go to the game to see Daniel Snyder. I go to the game to see Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson and Chase Young. Like, that's why I'm going to the game, not for the, tiny man that's sitting in the owner's box. Get out of here.
Exactly. All right. It's that time of the show everybody loves. Alrighty.
Shout out to John, who I'm waiting for the comment to come up. It'll be there shortly, I'm sure. But this one is, I have to give a shout out to I believe it was Styles P. Styles P put it on IG I think it was last week or week before last. And Big Boy. I think it was Big Boy. My bad. It was Big Boy. Sorry about that. And it resonated with me because for the career that I have decided to take, or that has chosen me in security, I do a lot of traveling. Which consists of, everybody has to have their travel routine, things of that nature. He made a comment, though, that I felt was something that needed to be addressed. And the comment was that if you unpack your luggage when you first get back from your trip, that you're a serial killer. So here I am saying that I'm a serial killer. Why? Because I definitely unpack my shit as soon as I get home. Why? Because you got to throw the dirty shit in the dirty clothes. The shit that you didn't have, that still got to go in the dirty clothes because the dirty clothes touch that. You know what I'm saying? You got to put your toiletry bag up, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. But yeah, I thought about that and I was like, nah, like I don't care what time of night it is, what time you fly in, like I'm literally like putting that stuff away so that I can get that suitcase or that luggage piece out the room, back in the closet or wherever it's supposed to be. But yeah, consider me a serial killer because I am definitely unpacking my shit as soon as I get home.
Whew.
Go ahead, CB.
Yeah, I will take out the shoes because you know that I'm packing multiple pairs, but the laundry probably taking at least a day. I've seen all that stuff. Yes, it's all gonna get washed, but I don't need to be reminded of the fact that I was just on this great trip or whatever, and now I'm back. Like, I got to take at least a day. And
oh,
we lost his audio.
Uh-oh. Why he's doing that? Yeah, I'm a Mr. Unpack as soon as I get back kind of thing. At least 90% of it, right? And I think that's probably what makes you even more of a psychopath or serial killer, whatever his terminology is if you start unpacking it and you get like 90% of your stuff unpacked, but leave like 10% of it left in the suitcase, right, just sits there. That's pretty off. But yeah, no, I like to, when I come back, just try to get it out the way as soon as possible. Put the dirty clothes away. Definitely put the shoes out because you don't want the shoes to wrinkle in the suitcase. So yeah, the sooner the better. Because if not, it's one of those things that's going to just linger and just carry on. You back, CB?
I don't know. Am I back?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I didn't do anything. Just technology.
Sometimes with us, sometimes.
John, if you can see how this is going, I'm building up a whole lot of merch with all these different ones. We got Oreos, lemon peppers, suitcases. Like this is nonstop. Like the catalog is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of merch, all right. CB. What we got
There
for
was
Soul Swap?
another trade for the Wizards. They just traded their 22nd pick to Indiana for Aaron Holiday. That's according to Sham. So breaking news.
That was the Laker pick that they just got.
Right.
Yeah, right. So for Soul Swap, as the fam knows, this is our weekly time where we get to talk about news in the shoe industry, our sneakers. So one of the big items, this was yesterday, right? Kyrie tweeted out his disdain for the new model of his shoe, basically blasting Nike, saying that he has nothing to do with it. He has not been involved. He thinks that they're trash.
About to say, he used the word trash.
Trash with an exclamation point after it. And I think all three of us agreed that it's true. Like these don't look great. And in my opinion, Nike has not had great publicity, over the last year. There's been plenty of stuff that's happened. The sneaker reselling and the bots and all that kind of stuff. Plenty of things going on. This is just another stain because the Kyrie shoe is a big seller for Nike. It might not be like a hype beast shoe or anything like that we're talking about, but from a number of units that get pushed, this is a team shoe. So a lot of the Nike teams that are sponsored by the swoosh wear Kyrie's. Like that's how the sales numbers for the shoe are so high. So from Nike's point of view, they're like, we don't care. We can just, slap Kyrie's name and logo on there, and we're still going to move these units. And Kyrie, that next time he's in those Nike headquarters, he's going to have the sage out. He's going to be doing all that. Like, this isn't a good look. And it's, Kyrie would he's not the dude that's going to be quiet about it either. So I commend him for bringing it up because it's, it's a punk move by the brand, in my opinion.
And to your point, I think just separately, this goes to prove, maybe to some of my point that I thought about before, is that it seems like Nike has lost or a designer. Something is missing within Nike because these signature shoe lines are absolute trash these days. They are horrible and they all look alike. Like Giannis, KD, and the Kyrie with the Velcro strap with some type of wing on it. They all look the same. The mid tier to low tier is probably what's separating. But the color, yes, I love colorways. Colorways are good, but the design of these shoes stink. Like LeBron is the only one getting either say so in his shoe or he has the right designer in his shoe. Because whoever's doing the Paul Georges, horrible. Like last year was probably one of the better designs of Paul George because he had the zipper. We know KD hasn't had a decent shoe since God knows when, maybe when he did the low tops. Kyrie's 1 and 2s were good, but like these things, and Giannis hasn't had a good shoe to start out with. These things are horrible. And they all look the same. And I don't know. Is it just me about those or is everybody kind of in agreement?
No, you
Definitely with you.
Yeah, we definitely with you. I think they're also playing like CB said. I think they're playing to the masses of more of team ball and not necessarily the individuals that are like picking up these. Because again, you have your LeBron, that's signature shoe that is always going to sell, the way it is. And let's just be honest. I think they also know that they bumped their heads not signing that deal with Vanessa to keep the Kobe signature line going. So it's like, what are you really doing if you're allowing too much to kind of slip through the cracks? And if you're not now focused on bringing Kobe's back out, then you definitely should be focused on who you have on the roster. Because again, and I know this is gonna sound funny, but Jordan's definitely doing the Birdman. Like,
Yeah.
don't think that would be a good merge with to have Kyrie on the Jordan brand because of how outspoken. But his game, Jordan definitely he respects that type of game that type of dude puts up on a regular basis. Like that's what it's about, right? If you go back to the old school brand Jordans, all them dudes on there was like straight hoopers, right? From your, everybody who was on there. So it's like you get that kind of mentality that, yeah, they really don't give a damn, and it's bad for the brand.
I think they definitely have a say so over what product come. I mean, hell, you just see Kyrie speak out about um, the product is trash. I think they do.
Yeah.
Definitely LeBron. Um, Maybe not so much on Jumpman because the premier athlete is MJ,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, to some degree, I mean, even if it comes down to comfortability of air cushioning, these athletes are at least testing them and telling them what to change.
And
Yeah, there
brings
you
up a
go.
great point.
That right there is very key because where are these guys at now?
Right. They're all at 3 stripes.
Exactly.
But Nike doesn't care because they still got Travis Scott. So
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
So I don't know. We're hitting you with a 2-pack this week. Normally we have one story. But this was big enough that I was like, yo, we got to do this one too. So for all the sneakerheads, the high for the Fragment Travis Scott
One
trash,
but go ahead.
which is going for over $2,000 on StockX now. Those dropped yesterday via online raffle, and it was big news that 2 very well-known botters, because there's a community for it, and these guys are literally tweeting out like screenshots of their setup or whatever to show that they have like 35,000 entries, 25,000 entries, and collectively they literally won like they and I say won. They secured like 200 pairs from, and that's specifically from the Travis raffle. There were other shops that were doing raffles too, so I don't know about those, but the story that came across the newswire this morning was at least 200 pairs were botted, and it's like official because the dudes posted all the receipts. So it's like there's no recourse or repercussions for this shit. And this is like, like public enemy number 1 for us when we're talking about
Right.
like, yo, we can't even get a sniff. Because if we entered in with like 2 email addresses, we'd totally get caught.
Right.
Like, what was y'all's initial reaction when we got this news this morning?
So first of all, we've all had a conversation about how trash these shoes are. Like out of the 2, the highs and the lows, because you even copped a drop these last week. These are not the most appealing, sexiest shoe in the world.
It's the lows for sure.
What shows you is that if this happened for this shoe,
Crazy.
imagine what's gonna fucking happen for the low that has the more eye appeal, right? Like at this point, like I'm already taken there. We know what awaits. I mean, and it's kind of pissing me off because of these, like, no chance in hell, right? That's Vince McMahon's thing. No chance in fucking hell. But you never know. There could be a unicorn somewhere in there. Go ahead, E.
Nah, what else is there to say? Like, yo, fuck the bots and everybody who who has one. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying. I get your resale, your money scheme, but in the true essence of this game, like it really just it's one of those like you definitely getting jumped if somebody finds out who you are.
Right.
Like we don't care. It's a fair fight. Like
where
we're not
you wearing
squaring up
these
with
two?
you. Like no, it's not even that. But it's just a simple fact of the matter of, man, like you talking about watering down the game. Like, we've had conversations about this recently, and it's just it almost gets to the point where fans are just like, what's the point? Like, could you imagine if they was like, damn, like nobody really even put up numbers on this because they realized bots were gonna win anyway.
Right. Or make more product. Like they don't even they want to have this this chaos out here. Because this could but it builds more hype around the shoe, right? And so this makes me think along the way. You can't tell me that Nike doesn't have anything to do with StockX, or like these companies aren't paired together because of the resale of these shoes. Like, yeah, because if that's the case, why doesn't Nike have the retail price for these shoes is $1,500? If they know people gonna go crazy and buy them originally, for, resale for 15, I'm just gonna have them retail for 15.
Isn't that better for Nike? If they're bringing in 15 for it rather than the 200, like,
yeah. So somewhere along the way, these people are in bed together, and there's a profit, for StockX to sell Nike products or Adidas products.
I mean, because StockX, we know because of we see the price that we're like, oh, this is the price that I'm going to pay for these shoes, and then you get the fees tacked on because StockX as a service is getting and that's the thing, it's a flat percentage. So the more expensive the shoe, the more money they make. So it's like, it's not. I love to make fun of conspiracy theorists, but it's also fun sometimes to want to be in the conspiracy.
Exactly.
And that's,
Exactly. Let me tell you. I told you about my Grubhub order this week that I did not press send. Actually, DoorDash. I didn't press send for that shit because, again, the markups and the fees for that shit is ridiculous. I wanted a grilled chicken club from Chick-fil-A. That's what I wanted. It's the grilled sandwich, maybe a fry, and a sweet tea for sure. I put that in the cart. It's already marked up as like $15, maybe $12 to $15 after processing and tax, and then possible tip. Shit was $27.50 for I quickly hit empty cart on that shit.
Yep.
You went on to get but one sauce to work with those dry ass fries, by the way.
It didn't even matter. I wanted the sandwich. It was more about the sandwich than anything else. CB, what we got for Copper Drop?
All right. So Pharrell teased these, and the podcast are fans of Pharrell. These are the new NMD S1s. There is actually no release date yet. There is actually no price yet, but Adidas just sent out friends and family pairs. They did 100 pairs of the friends and family, which is more of like it's a different color than the white. It's like a more unique color, but the shoe is completely different from the NMDR ones, the XR ones, any of the previous NMD models. These look completely different, and we can go back and check the tape. I said in a previous episode that one of the things Adidas should look into doing more regularly, because they already do it with the Yeezys, is close the boost in. Just, instead of having it exposed like you do, put it in a cage or a case or something. And that is actually what they're doing with this. You got a prime knit upper, like most of the other, top end Adidas models and things like that. And Seth Fowler on his YouTube channel, he did a review of because he got sent one of the friends and family pairs. And on the side, similar to the Yeezy 350s, there's kind of like a transparent strip or something like that, which, if you like to play the funky sock game, then that's something that kind of plays on into that. So I know when I saw these for the very first time, I was like, yeah, I'm back on the NMDs. Like when these drop, And like I said, there's no price yet, but I've seen speculation of like 180 to 200. Because 180, I want to say, is what the original NMDR ones were going for, and 200 is in the range of what the 180 is also, I want to say, what the Ultra Boosts are going for, and these have a very similar kind of side profile to the newest Ultra Boosts that have like a crazy amount of boosts in there. So, but for me, these are definitely a cop. I'm excited for them actually. There hasn't been a base Adidas model in a while that I've been pretty pumped about, and this is one of them for sure. What do you guys think? Cop or drop?
Lady.
Oh, this is most definitely a cop. Like this is like we calling out everybody, all hands on deck. If they're not trying to get it, I'm gonna need that extra, that extra person to be trying to get these like for show. Because yeah, I mean, this is off of what we just talked about, that breath of fresh air of hopefully this is like that. This is what keeps us in the game of the shoes, right? Which is having something like this. That Travis Scott shit is just garbage. And then you get this, and then it's like they keep willing me back in. Like just when I thought I was gonna chill out, they keep calling. You know what I mean? Like this is definitely a cop. They can have a price point of probably 190, 200, and I still wouldn't blink at it.
They're probably gonna have a price of 250.
You think 250?
Well, it depends. So, do we know how much boost they put in there? Is this supposed to have a lot of?
I mean, I think it is, but even the Ultra Boosts, which have the most boost of any shoe on the market, are still like 180. And some of the collabs that they do that they release are like 200 or whatever.
Okay. So the question is, is this a mass produced shoe, or are these going to be one of those one-offs that we've seen those high prices? There'll be limited quantity. I mean, this is a cop for sure. Not this colorway, because I definitely would like to wear it a lot, and the white just gonna get. But if it's the colorway, any other colorway white for sure. But that Pharrell black colorway with they had like different colors mixed in there with the black, ridiculous. But Adidas is definitely like winning for sure. They've got the designers, they've got the right personnel, like marketing the shoes, and we've even talked about. I mean, UCB, we've talked about, that content, bringing that up as far as, the people representing the shoe kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, Adidas is winning, and I think that's another reason why, like you said, Nike's going for that team kind of ball thing, like that. Like they're not really lifestyle shoes. Nike can't compete really, so they're going for performance. It looks like. So
look at all of Nike's big, like, popular models now. These were popular 10 years ago, and they were popular 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they're selling a lot of Air Max, and honestly, it's Dunks again, and Jordans. It's still all the same Jordans that move. So like, what is the last really new Nike product that's stuck? Like, the React cushioning is very good, but there isn't one specific React shoe, like,
agree.
Flagship shoe that people's like, oh yeah, I got those new Reacts. Like,
agree. Totally agree.
The last one was Kobe's high tops. That was it. That's literally cool. Kobe's high tops, Flynet high tops. That was it. After that, nope.
I'm gonna look into it. Yeah, that could be true. All right, let's get into shoe and tell. I'll go first. I'm already right here. So
ooh-wee.
Nike box. What's inside the box? The box is plain.
Those look like some Lebanon James.
So what's in the box is that Sylvester Tweety pack.
Nice. Yo, the detail on the tongue on the inside?
Yeah, let me turn better. Shit, there we go.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
That's that one. Sylvester's paw on the side. Suffering succotash. I thought I'll put each head.
The details are great.
Details are great. I mean, the backing, but all around like dope shoe. Comfortable. Oh, let me show the Tune Squad.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Did it have any other laces?
No.
Do they have mismatched laces anyways?
Nah, they're both white.
Both white. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, would have been dope for Mitch Max, but you know, the white works. I'm happy with those. I'd rather have gotten the Woodstock. What's that? The Wile E. Coyote and
the Roadrunner.
But you know, that sealing that right there sealed my fate for the South Beaches. Right
The South Beaches.
You up, B? There you go.
Yeah. We're gonna go here.
Of course, we know what that box is.
Just something.
Don't pause the lovers.
This is just for just to satisfy the
you're not
satisfy my not Travis Scott ever probably won. So this is like no, you'll get these, but then don't worry about nothing else. And
we'll give you the double nose.
Yeah, and of course they did do the two colors. Definitely gonna throw the orange in there. And
didn't they call those the shattered backboard alternates or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they definitely got the shattered backboard vibes.
Yeah, they're not a bad.
No,
not as bad as those sevens, I guess.
Anybody looking for some Flint sevens, holla at Cleo.
Right. All right. So I'm a man of the people. I had everyone vote. You can't even see that. I had everyone vote on my story for am I going to do a Nike or Adidas shoe on here, or am I going to do another brand? And Nike or Adidas edged it out 53% to 47% for another brand. So this is, I guess, a perfect shoe to end the month on. But this is another box that we've seen this box.
Oh,
yep.
We've seen this box. But I secured the full pack.
There it is.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. There it is.
There it is.
The solar red clot Air Max 1s.
Sheesh.
Says clot on there.
Look at that. Oh, joke.
That red on there is like one of a kind.
It's crazy.
Laces. Do they have that yellow? Even better.
So I got that. Clot on the inside. This just the quality on here is dope. I feel like there is another set of laces. It's like these it's the gray.
The gray. Yeah.
Dope.
I mean, I kept the red. I put, because the red laces on the other pairs are the alternates, and I put them on those because
brands are dope.
Yeah, but
no,
I got the full pack. Like, it was one of those things where we talk about, brands should just make more of the product, and this is a case of that where Edison Chen, who is one of the main guys behind Clot, he was on Full Size Run, the Complex show, and he was talking to them about, people were clamoring like, oh, we want you to bring them back. We want you to bring them back. He's like, yo, so we brought them back. And then people were complaining we brought too many back. And it's just like, nah, man, I'm glad I was able to get pairs of all this stuff because I wanted them and I got them. So I'm pumped. I was able to secure all three. And yeah, like I felt like this was a good way to end the month.
So real quick before we get out of here, we shot Soul Tales. So Soul Tales is something that we did beginning of the pandemic, about a year some change ago, and it was a really dope episode. but when we were on Zoom, too bad they recorded the episode double time, so it didn't film right. But we brought it back and we recorded it over the weekend. Very excited about that, and so we don't have a premiere date yet, but we're gonna do something real fancy. We'll premiere it on an off night. We won't premiere it on a Thursday night. Maybe we'll set a premiere and just try to push everybody to watch it when we decide to put it out. But a couple weeks at least. But we did a dope episode. Shout out to Be Easy if you're still here. Thank you for joining us. E from the OT show and the fellas right here. We put it together. We did pretty well, and I'm interested to see what you guys think about it. It's just nothing but sneakers, but it's not just sneakers. I mean, there's conversations around just being a sneakerhead and all this. It was a good introductory show for something that we think that can take off separate from We Are Something Else. So there he is right there. So it may be one of those things once a month, once every other month. We put it together, but it's like a sneaker panel. It's a good show. I mean, we wanted it to be the more the merrier, so we can get the feel like a sneakerhead community vibe going. But let us know in a couple weeks, when it's out. Maybe I'll do a trailer since I got time. We can kind of preview some stuff, but get everybody interested. But that's it. I mean, so we appreciate everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Listen to All on the Way to Aspen. If you haven't listened to it yet, it's a really dope track by me and CB. Really dope concept track. And as this week, as I was driving around, picking up Milani here and there, going to the gym, I have played the rest of the album out. I mean, I'm rapping it, so the lyrics aren't in wax yet. But I'm like, the more and more I wrap it up, I'm like, yo, this is for 5 tracks. This is a really dope album. So, we're gonna get it together. We got it. So
we will.
But that's it, y'all. We got something else.
Peace.